As human beings with free will, we have the ability to build and mold ourselves into anything that we want to be. Anything in this world that you want to accomplish or conquer, you have the free will to do so. But one key point to keep in mind is that just simply because you may feel like you're doing everything right does not mean that everything is going to go right. Just because you may have felt like you put in the time, the hard work, the energy to get a certain result does not mean things are always going to go that way. And I feel like it's very important for us to just keep in mind that if it's out of our control, that it should not be in our mind. If you do not have the ability to change the outcome of something, there is no need in investing your time and your energy into something that you're really just not going to benefit from. And this really just ties into stoicism, which to me just involves this sense of cutting out worries based on things you have no control over. There's no use in crying over spilt milk. If something is bound to happen, if something has already occurred, and you cannot make an impact or get a different result, there is no need in trying to act as if you can, because what this is going to do is it's just going to drain you. As human beings, when we invest our time and energy into something and we can't change the course or the outcome, that is going to have a major impact on us mentally. Just think about anything that you've ever done in your life where you may have actually strived to get a certain result. If you did not get the result that you wanted, I guarantee that it hit deep. And the reason behind this is because there's a direct correlation behind the work that we put in, the effort and the energy that we put out there, and what we want to see in return, or what we expect to see in return. And when we don't see these things happen, it usually discourages a lot of people. But one of the questions that so many people have when it comes to this form of stoicism and not necessarily allowing yourself to worry about things that you just can't change is, how do I put myself in a position not to worry? How am I able to ease my mind when it comes to things that have such an impact on my life and that I will want to go a certain way, but I just simply do not have the ability to change it? I personally do this by understanding that time will pass. The way that you feel at this very moment, the thoughts that you're having, the emotions and everything that may be going on inside of you, that is going to change. Just think about how many different moods and how many different feelings you have on a daily basis. For the majority of us, when we wake up first thing in the morning, the way that we feel in the beginning of the day is not going to be the same how we feel at the end of the day. So with that being said, if you just allow yourself a little bit of time to be able to digest what's going on in your life, it's going to make this a lot easier for you to just allow things to be exactly what they are. That's why I feel like it's very important that we just embrace everything that we have at this very moment. Not even necessarily just being afraid of those things passing or those things not no longer being in our lives anymore, but really just understanding that nothing is forever. I'm not forever, you're not forever, this earth, none of this is going to be here forever, more than likely. So if we learn to put our attention on just being present and enjoying what we have at this very moment, appreciating all the tools and all the people, whatever resources that we may have in our lives, it's going to be much easier for you to be able to digest and be able to take this in for exactly what it is, just temporary. I've made so many videos on how important it is to just be present, because I understand how much focusing on the future will impact your life. There's just so much that everyone wants to do. We all want to be great. You know, I don't blame you guys for wanting to go out and accomplish everything that you may want to accomplish. And, you know, I've been like this my entire life, but one thing that this has taught me is just the fact that when you're living for the future and you're not living for right now, you are really just selling yourself short. We all know that tomorrow isn't promised. We all know that we don't really know how things are going to turn out in the long run. We're all just working and building towards something with the hopes of it coming out and turning out the way that we will want it to turn out. But in reality, 10, 15 years down the road, it is going to probably be totally different than anything we would have ever expected. Because just look back from 15 years ago, and I guarantee nobody would imagine the world to be what it is right now. So the one thing that's actually in your control is doing what you can at this moment. Working on yourself right now, working on living today, because today is really all we have. I know it can be so easy to get tied up and try to push towards the future and work towards tomorrow, but the weight of tomorrow is just too heavy to endure today. The stresses, everything that comes with tomorrow should not be on your plate. It should not be your main focus at this very moment, because tomorrow has its own worries. You have to focus on the worries of today, the things that you're trying to get through at this very moment to even get to tomorrow. So don't put yourself in a position to be stressed out on the things to come. Don't put yourself in a position to be stressed out over things that you just simply cannot control. And I had this problem so much growing up, especially when I was younger, when it came to the relationships that I would be in, because I would see people move in a certain way, and it would just frustrate me not necessarily getting the result that I would want based on the energy or the effort that I felt like I was putting in. But you can't force nobody, you can't change nobody. The only thing that you can do as a human being is communicate, set boundaries, and do what you need to do in order to get your point across and allow that person to be who they are. If somebody respects you and they love you, then they will move accordingly. Do not try to prevent certain things from happening. Do not try to stop a person from doing A, B, and C because you may love them, you may care about them, it may be a cool friendship, whatever you want to call it. Do you? This is why I feel like it's very important for us to have a life. It's very important for us to be locked in on what we have going on, because when you turn your attention away from external things and you focus on what's going on inside of you, life becomes a lot easier. Life becomes a lot clearer when you're not allowing people to have power and control over you. When you don't allow yourself to get put in a position where you may question what's going on and you completely get off track because something caught you off guard and now you don't know which direction to go in. But there's always going to be things that happen out of your control. There's always going to be things that happen that you may not agree with. Does this mean that you should just go crazy and allow yourself to just be fully consumed by that moment? Or really just be able to be resilient and persist through those hard times? Just think about that. Think about how many things that are going to go on around you or that have went on around you that you have no control over, or you had no control over. If you sat and you allowed yourself to be stressed out over things that you don't have no control over, you will probably be somewhere ready to have a stroke because it is too much to endure. In the world that we're living in, I'm not going to say your impact is very small, but there's just certain things that you just can't prevent or can't stop from happening. Just being in a position that you're in. That's why I feel like it's very important that we work to become the best versions of ourselves so that we can become more impactful, so that our decisions can impact the lives of the people around us and anything that we may want to impact. But if you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you so much. It's your boy Blue Jay Tay. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.